Hey, I'm back to talk about GABA today in the setting of premenopause or perimenopause. GABA is a neurotransmitter that regulates feelings and moods of anxiety, stress, and fear. And it is something that can kind of get stripped out of our system if we are too wired or using too much coffee, alcohol, or drugs. And it's something that can really help when we're in a state of flux with our hormones, specifically a lower dip in progesterone that happens around the time of premenopause in your late 30s, early 40s, or throughout your 40s. This is part of a series I'm doing on symptoms of low progesterone and the kinds of things that can go along with that and how we can address that naturally in the body. I've done a couple of other videos talking about this, especially the emotional aspects of low progesterone and estrogen dominance. And so I'll definitely point you to my last video, which talks about helping emotional regulation in this time of our lives with stress management, which is really key. I feel like stress management is the first thing to try because it's the easiest, most natural, and least invasive thing to do. And so if you've tried that and it still didn't work with your progesterone levels and your anxiety, then this video is for you. I'm going to talk about GABA and its inhibitory powers and the ways that we can get more GABA into our systems. So GABA stands for gamma aminobutyric acid, and like I said, it's a neurotransmitter and it's an inhibitory neurotransmitter. It calms down the excitatory ones. Anxiety is one of the most excitatory states that we can be in, and we can be in that state for many different reasons, one of which can be low progesterone. So ways to increase GABA in your body naturally. You can do a little bit more stress management, which is what my last video was all about. So if you haven't seen that, go back and watch that for sure. That's, again, the easiest way. But that also increases GABA as well as addressing your progesterone. Another thing to do is to increase your moderate exercise, not cardio exercise, because again, that makes you wired and tired, but moderate, things like walking or biking or boating. You can increase your GABA-rich foods. So these are things like cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, as well as green vegetables like spinach. And then sweet potatoes are also high in the precursors to GABA. Fermented soy is a really great way to get GABA in your diet if you like miso or tempeh. Green tea, black tea, and mushrooms, all of which also can be fermented to heighten their GABA quantities. Those are all great ways to get GABA into your diet. And bananas and berries are the best fruits. Making sure to reduce your use of any alcohol, coffee, or drugs is another great way to really tone down and be gentle with your GABA receptors. These things can really strip out our GABA receptors by stimulating them in different ways over and over again. You can address GABA deficiencies with supplementation as well. You can supplement with magnesium. I like the form of glycinate myself. I take magnesium glycinate at night, every night for a lot of reasons, but this is another reason to take it regularly. As well as zinc. I like the form of picolinate when I take zinc. And also B6 is a precursor to GABA. There are also things like taurine and L-tyrosine, which can be really good precursors to GABA. And if you've tried all of these things on my list so far to increase your GABA and none of them work, you could actually take GABA in pill form. This is something that we can take internally. It's questionable how much of it will actually cross the blood-brain barrier, but the best way to get GABA across that barrier is to take it in lozenge form. So having it under your tongue so that it's absorbed into the bloodstream locally in the same area as your brain so that it can go directly to your brain before it's diminished in the bloodstream. Theoretically, this works for many of us. However, if you are on an MAO inhibitor drug or if you have low blood pressure, GABA is not indicated for you. I will put my favorite form of GABA down below and a link to my dispensary so you can order it instantly through me at a discount. And it's called GABA Calm. GABA works amazingly well for some women, and for other women it doesn't work as well. And this is thought to be because of a genetic predisposition, a polymorphism that makes you a little bit less responsive to GABA. So you will know pretty quickly if you make it down my list and do all of these things and then take the supplement form of GABA, which you should always do under your doctor's supervision, by the way. You'll know right away if this is going to work for you and calm your anxiety. For some people, it calms them so much that they can actually get kind of sleepy. And so this is the GABA calm form actually is the kind that you can take that won't make you too sleepy. If you take other forms of GABA, they might make you sleepy. So the first time you try them, if it's not this brand of that I'm recommending, the GABA calm, then you might want to take it at night just to see how it affects you and whether it makes you tired. It really can be very powerful, and it is meant to be something taken temporarily. You don't want to mess with your GABA receptors long term with this supplementation. You'll want to use it on and off periodically for short periods of time and times of great need. If you have hormone dysregulation, you really should work on your hormones first and not rely on a supplement like GABA long term. Now, not all of us have anxiety as an element in our low progesterone during premenopause. Some of us have depression, myself included. So either one or the other usually is predominant during this stage of midlife. And if you have more depression symptoms, if you had them during your puberty years, you're tending to have them more in your premenopause years as well, then my next video is for you. We're going to talk about serotonin in my next video, ways to get it more naturally through foods as well as supplementation. So stay tuned if you are especially struggling with depression during this phase of life. I wanted to do a video about both GABA and serotonin, but I knew that video would probably be too long, so I decided to make different videos, one for each. So if anxiety is not so much your struggle emotionally during this phase of life, and depression is something that you are struggling with, I promise it is temporary. Your hormones will even themselves out eventually. But in the meantime, you might want to watch my next video about depression and serotonin in midlife or premenopause. And I'll see you there. Bye-bye.